Relax today. And you can use some head and neck support if you'd like. And as you come down onto your back, just begin by kind of wiggling your toes. You might rock back and forth like a mini windshield wiper on the hips. Good. And then notice where your upper back is touching the floor, and if you can get an idea of where your shoulder blades are back there, you might notice one side could feel different than the other side, and that's fine. You're just kind of tuning into this area. Then let's move them down our back a little bit. So all I did was lift up a little bit and slide my shoulder blades away from my neck. Good. And then notice where your arms and hands are resting. They can be wherever you want. Just gonna wiggle your fingers, feel the ground, or mine are on my legs, so I'm feeling my legs. Softening your jaw if you can. Good. And then noticing your breath coming in and your breath going out. You don't have to change your breath at all, just feeling it go in. And taking a sigh out your mouth. And again. Good. And now notice how your legs are. Mine are bent with my knees apart. And what I'm going to do is take the feet wide and let the knees lean against one another. So you can try to play around with that and see if that works for you. So this takes any strain off the inner thighs. So your inner thighs kind of soften and relax. If I feel them, they're relaxed. When I pull my knees apart from one another and I feel my inner thighs, I can feel that the muscles are working. Right? So I'm just going to let them lean and let the inner thighs soften. And now breathing in again. And then let's breathe out through pursed lips like you're blowing out through a straw slowly. And again. Good. And then let your breath transition into whatever type of breathing feels best to you right now. That might be in and out through your nose, or it might be out through the mouth. And if you want to, you could close your eyes for a moment and tune inward. So it's like now you're noticing what's going on internally in your mind, in the sensations of your body. Good. All right. And now let's widen the arms out to a T and just start to windshield wiper the knees, letting your breath be continuous, rolling over your feet. Noticing how far you want to go down on either side. It might be different side to side. And then let's come back to the center and straighten out the left leg. Now let's inhale to reach your arms overhead. And exhale, let's bring the right knee in and squeeze it with your hands. Good. And just pause for a moment. Inhaling there. And exhale, maybe you can bring it in a little closer if it feels okay. Just noticing. Good. Now let's use the right hand and take the knee out to the right. Good. Inhale there. Good. And as you exhale, keeping your hand on the knee, let's circle the knee forward. And now let's use your left hand and take the knee across your body and let your right hip come off the floor if it wants to. So going into more of a twist. Breathing in and out. Good. And then let's come back to the center. And now, if it feels okay, let's let go with your hands and keep the knee there. Just notice if that's all right. Now we're going to make circles with the knee and hip, taking it out to the right and then forward and then to the left, but not lifting it off the floor. Just going around and around. And then circling the opposite way. And then back to the center, placing your foot on the floor. Let's straighten out the leg and notice both sides. Taking a breath in and a sigh out. And let's inhale, stretch arms overhead, and exhale to bring the left knee in, giving it a squeeze and just staying there for a few breaths. Noticing the sensations that you feel here. Good. And now using your left hand, let's take that knee out to the left, any amount. Take a breath or two there. Good. And now keeping the hand on the knee, let's circle it toward the front, toward the other foot. And then taking it in your right hand, let's bring the knee across the body any amount. You can let the left hip come off the floor and breathe. Good. And now let's come back to the center, letting go with your hands if that feels okay. Now let's very slowly start to circle that knee and hip. Keep breathing. And then go in a circle the opposite direction. And then back to the center, placing the foot on the floor. Let's straighten out the leg. Following your breath in and out. Good. Now let's inhale, stretch arms overhead, and exhale, bringing the right knee in. Now we're going to take the knee across your body into the twist. So we'll take the left hand to the knee, bring it across, right arm extends, and let's take a couple of breaths there. Now let's roll over toward the left. So we're going to keep the knee as it is, bring the right arm all the way across. So now you'll have to scoot yourself up, but let the right knee out to the side. So you're on your belly. Your right knee is out to the side in a half frog pose. And you're propped up on your forearms if you can. Yeah, just make sure that feels okay. So your right knee is out to the right, straight out from your hip, making sure that feels okay in your own body. And let's press down through the right knee strongly. Just pushing it down into the floor. So here's what it looks like from the front. My knee is out to the side, and I'm just pushing it down into the floor. Of course, make sure this feels okay in your body. right? And if it doesn't, you can slide that leg back next to the other one if you need to, or just adjust where the knee is. Good, one more breath. And now let's slide that leg next to the other leg. So both legs are down toward the end of your mat, and we're in Sphinx pose. Inhaling here and exhaling here. Good. Spread across your collarbones. Inhale. And exhale, can you tighten your butt muscles? Good. And now let's lower down onto your belly and just prop your head with your hands either on your forehead or your chin or turn to the side. We're just going to bend the right knee. So when you bend the right knee, you'll probably find your pubic bone comes off the floor. So press your pubic bone down. Good. And see if you can lift that right knee off the floor just a little bit and then bring it down. And again, lift it up and bring it down without lifting your hip off the floor. So we're going into hip extension here. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Good. And now let's let that leg come down. Good. And let's inhale back up to Sphinx pose. Exhale, slide that right knee forward back into your half frog. Notice how that feels. We're going to go back the way we came. So to do that, what I'm going to do is put my right hand forward and lift the elbow up. See if I can slide my left arm underneath the right. Then I start to lay the side of my left head down and roll back over into my twist. Take a breath or two there. Good. Now, we're going to do something here, still staying in this twist, okay? So if you have to rearrange yourself, I just scooted back on my mat, and I'm going to get my head and neck support set up. So what I'm going to do is with this right arm, it's going to place it on my right side where my ribs are, okay? Right there. I'm going to relax that shoulder. And then with the right leg, the top leg, if you can, you could try to straighten it out. If that's too tight, you could keep it bent, okay? So I've got that leg extended out to the side. And I'm just going to take a big inhale. Try to feel the expansion in the ribs. And then exhale all the way to the end and see if you can feel your core engage. And then again, inhale. And then as you exhale, this time at the end of the exhale, tighten your abdominal muscles and see if you can lift the right leg a little bit off the floor and then bring it back down slowly with control. And we'll try it again. So you're going to take an exhale. At the end of the exhale, tightening the abdominal, seeing if you can lift that right leg, feeling the work in the outer right hip. And then inhale, place it back down. Let's do 2 more. So use your exhale. At the end of the exhale, try to soften your jaw, engage your abdominal muscles. See about lifting that leg a little bit. And inhale back down. Good. So you're trying to lift the leg straight. So the leg stays straight as it lifts. If you had to bend the knee because it was too tight, that's okay too, but you're keeping it like just partially bent, right? Okay, the next time you bring it up, let's come all the way up toward the ceiling. So roll back onto your back. Let's bend the left knee so you can scoot yourself around. Good. And now you've got your right leg toward the ceiling and your left knee bent on the floor. Are you with me here? Okay. I know a lot of rolling around. Now we're just going to inhale to bend the knee, the right knee. Exhale, straighten it toward the ceiling. And repeat. Now I'm not using my arms to hold the leg, but if that feels better to you right now, you can do that. I've just got my arms relaxed and I'm bending and straightening. Good. A couple more. Good, and now let's slowly bring the leg down and straighten out the legs on the floor. And just pause for a moment. You can close your eyes if you want to, and tune in to both of your legs. Take an inhale and an exhale. Notice how you feel all the way from the hips to the toes on both sides, if it feels any different side to side. And then when you're ready, let's inhale, reach arms overhead. And exhale, let's bring the left knee in and give it a squeeze. Let's pause for a moment. And then on an exhale, let's bring the knee across your body toward a twist. Okay, stretching the left arm out to the side. Pause here for a couple of breaths. Good, and now slowly we'll start to roll over to the right side. So you let your left arm come around, roll over onto your right, and now we're gonna keep rolling over until you're on your belly. So I just put my forearms down, scoot myself back onto my mat, and I'm in half frog sphinx. So I've got my left knee out to the side. Again, you wanna make sure this feels okay on your hip. If you need to make any adjustment, go for it, okay? If your knee's out to the side, see if it feels okay to press that left knee into the floor strongly. Let your neck relax. Good, and then from here, sliding it back to meet the other leg. And now in Sphinx pose, spreading across your collarbones, let's press the pubic bone down strongly so you can feel your glute muscles turn on, noticing how that feels. And then exhale, let's lower down, propping your head in some way with your arms. Good. Now we're going to inhale to bend the left knee and exhale to press your pubic bone down to the floor. And then we'll inhale, just lift it a little bit, any amount, and exhale, lower. You're not trying to lift your hip. You're trying to keep this left hip on the floor. And we'll do a few of these. Good, and next time you come down, let's straighten out the leg again. Let's come back into Sphinx. Exhale. Then inhale, I'm going to slide that left arm forward a bit and lift the elbow up. So I kind of lean to my right to do that. And I'm going to slide my right arm underneath the left and then start to come onto my right shoulder and my left. Oh, I forgot to bring the left knee into frog. Oh, well. So bring your left knee forward so you're in this like knee down twist position. Okay. You can always get your head and neck support. I'm going to reach my left arm out to the left for a breath or two. See how that feels. Now let's take the left hand to your left ribs. So you can just relax the left shoulder. And now as you inhale, let's inhale and feel that side body expand. Exhale. Okay, now let's see how it feels to straighten out the left leg on the floor. Now, if you're really tight, it'll be hard to straighten it. It'll be further down. So you can move it further down a little bit, or you could bend the knee a little bit. Okay, either one. Now we're gonna practice those lifts, strengthening the core and the outer hips. So we're gonna inhale and then exhale all the way. Try to feel your core engage and then see about lifting your hip a little bit, your leg a little bit off the floor, a foot or two, and then inhale, lower it again. And repeat a couple of times, noticing can you feel your core turn on to support the lift? And can you lower back down with control? Okay, now this next time, we're gonna keep rolling onto our backs. Okay, so you bring it up and then bring it up toward the ceiling. Bend the right knee so you can use the right foot to help you scoot back to where you wanna be. And we'll leave that right knee bent. And now we're just going to do some bending and straightening of the left leg. Up toward the ceiling and bend it again. Of course, you're welcome to hold the leg with a strap or your hands if it feels better. Good. Now let's bend the knee, foot to the floor. Let's straighten out both legs on the floor and just notice the two sides again. If you want to, you could close your eyes for a moment. Again, tuning in to that lower body all the way from hips to toes. All right, let's inhale to bend the knees, feet on the floor. Good. Now, as you exhale, we're slowly going to bring the soles of the feet toward one another and let the knees start to open up. And just notice how far feels okay for you to go. Now, you could always prop with your hands or you could come in and out. Some people are really tight in this position, so feel free to kind of make butterfly wings and come in and out. In fact, even if it does feel okay, let's do some of these butterfly wings and activate those inner thigh muscles. So you're just going up and then you're coming back out. You can come all the way up and touch knees or just part way, up to you. And just one more. Good. And now let's roll over onto one side and start to slowly press up. We're going to come onto hands and knees here. So if you need some knee padding, you could use a blanket or even a pillow below your knees. You could, if you can't bear weight on knees at all, you could probably find a way to do this with your hands on a chair and your feet on the floor rather than your knees. Okay, so you can kind of play around with that. What we're going to do here is have our hands below our shoulders, and you could start with just a couple cats and cows because most people are familiar with that, and it can be a nice warm up for the spine. Okay, now let's find neutral position, like a tabletop. And we're going to take one leg out to the side. Doesn't matter which. I'm just going to do the one that's closest so you can see it. So I've got it out to the side. And now I'm going to try to cat and cow with my leg out to the side. And just notice, depending on how your hip feels, you may not be able to have it straight out, your foot straight out from the hip. You may need to be a little more back or forward. So feel free to do that. If you get a cramp in your hip, just make an adjustment. Okay, now next time you tilt the tail up, let's stay there. You could also, if your wrists are bothering you, you could have forearms on your blocks or on the floor too. Okay, so now I'm going to try to tilt the tail up and really press the left foot, or sorry, the extended leg's foot strongly into the floor. Good. Now from here, you can tuck the back toes or you can keep them flat. Can you start to sit back toward the back heel and then come up again? Okay, so you're sitting back toward that back heel and then rising up. Now, I'm going to just put my forearms on the floor, so you're welcome to do that. Or you can stay with hands. See if you can keep the tail trying to go up. Mine starts to tuck under as I go back, and I'm just trying to keep thinking about taking it upward. Good. Now next time you come up, let's stay there. Okay. Okay, so you're staying here. And now this may be really easy or it might be really hard, this next bit, okay? So be ready for anything. I'm just gonna inhale, protract the shoulder blades, so widen them, and exhale, can you press in down through your arms and lift the left leg off the floor, and then inhale, bring it back down. Now, you may have not been able to get it off the floor. That would be a common thing, okay? It's pretty hard. Or you may have done this to get off the floor. You might have gone exhale and then done all these weird things with your body kind of twisting. I mean, it's not weird. It's just you've distorted your shape, the position of your body. Are you able to do it with staying square to the floor and just lifting the leg a little bit and bring it back down without getting too tight in your neck? All right, now let's come back onto the knees. Let's circle around with the hips a couple of times. It can be on forearms or hands. Good. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we're going to take the other leg out to the side, right, and do some cats and cows. Okay, and then leaving the tail up if you can. You're going to try to really push that extended legs foot into the floor strongly. And then your back toes could be either tucked or flat. You're going to try to tilt the tail up as you sit back toward the heel and then rise back up a few times. Good, and then staying up. You're going to take an inhale to protract the shoulder blades, that's widen them, and exhale, engage the abdominals and see about lifting that right leg up, and then inhale, put it back down. You might get a cramp, and then inhale up again, and exhale back down. Good, then bring that leg in and just circle the hips around. All right, we're gonna come up onto our feet so you can tuck your toes and do a bear get up here, walking your hands back. And then rising up in a way that feels good to you, taking your time. Inhale to reach the arms up. And exhale, let's draw the hands down through the middle. And again. Good. And once you get down this time, just notice how you feel on your feet. Okay, just feel both feet on the ground. You could rock a little bit if you want to on your heels, on your feet. Just kind of forward and back, up and down. Good. And now let's take the feet about hips distance apart and we'll do crescent moon pose. So we'll inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale as you take your right hand to grab a hold of your left wrist and then let your ear lean on your right arm as you lean to the right. Good. Then inhale back up, get tall and switch. Left hand grabs right wrist. Exhale, left ear leans. Good. And then inhale up again. Let's do it again, both sides. Let your neck and jaw relax. Good. Back up to center. Let's exhale, bringing the arms out and down. Let's take the feet below the hips and stand in Tadasana or mountain pose. And you can invite your eyes to settle on something that you can see out in front of you. And as you do that, can you also invite your eyes to soften? Let your forehead soften, your jaw. And then notice your feet. So notice where your feet are touching the floor, your toes, and how you feel through the right and left sides of your body. Notice your hands, your shoulders, and the very top of your head. Good. All right, we're gonna get our chairs and just get them set up in front here. We're gonna be doing some things where we're putting our foot on the chair. So if you need extra balance support around you, or if your chair is going to slide, you can put up against a wall or something. Okay. Good. All right, so I'm curious about this one for you too, Janet, just as far as lifting the leg up there, how it feels. Okay, so we're gonna try to lift one leg and hover the foot with the knee bent over the chair and just see if that works. This is a hard one for people. So we're gonna inhale, stand tall, and exhale. Let's lift the right leg first and see if you can hover it over the chair. If you have to put it right down, go for it. And then you can try to lift it again. Okay. Take a breath or two, either hovering or setting it down and lifting a few times. Try to really engage your standing leg. And then exhale, bring it back down to the floor. Okay, good. Let's do the other side. Inhale, stand tall. You might just notice any difference between sides. Exhale, other leg comes up, either hovering or you can put it down and lift it again. Right? So see what works for you. Keep breathing. Good, and then when you're ready, take that leg and put it down. Good, so just step side to side a little bit. Notice how that was. So that's all about hip flexor strength, and it's hip flexion, right? So it's just one direction. Okay, good, I'm glad that worked for you. All right, on. Okay, now for some people it might not have if you're doing it as a recording. That's okay, that's what we're working on. We're trying to get stronger through the hips, but also get these legs activated. Okay, now let's do that again. But let's turn, I'm gonna turn the chair to the side. Okay, so what I mean by that is the back of the chair is going to be at the side rather than in front of you, okay? Now, inhale, stand tall. Exhale, right leg lifts and hovers. Whoops, you might lose your balance. Inhale, exhale, put it down if you haven't already. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, and it's like we're gonna do a big lunge with the chair involved. So I'm gonna use the back of my chair, I'm gonna hold on to it. And I'm going to exhale as I start to fold toward the chair so I can hold on. Now, if you're like, I can't fold toward the chair, then you might need to have it in the original position, okay? So this might be how some people have to do it, this way. I'm gonna keep mine on the side and folding down. If where you put the leg isn't working for your body, you could always move it out to the side a little bit, right? So if you need more space for your body, so it's not pinching against the leg, then go for it, slide it around. Now what I'm gonna do is take my back leg, my bottom leg, and step it back. So now I'm in this big lunge. Now, again, you could be lifted higher up, right? You could be up here. You don't have to lean down. Just want to make sure you feel safe in where you are, okay? You could also, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to lunge forward. Now, this might be a ridiculous idea for some people's knees, right? Or their ankles, but you're just going to explore it, right? Like how much feels okay without pinching anything, without overdoing anything. You can always have this back knee bent. I really like to do this because it gives me a stretch into the front of the back thigh. For others, it might not feel good. Okay, so take a couple of breaths exploring this chair lunge and notice if you started to hold your breath. Good, and then as you're ready, you're going to use the back of your chair, push yourself up. You might need to jump this back leg in. Inhale, let go. Exhale, can you float the foot up and bring it down? Okay, good. So I think you've now seen how the chair needs to be for you. You might want the back of the chair on the other side. I'm just going to leave mine how it is, okay? You can also have the back of the chair in front of you, right? So I'm going to inhale, stand tall. Exhale, left leg is going to float. Inhale. Exhale, I'm going to put it down. I'm going to talk you into this a little bit differently. I think this will make it a little easier. So instead of going all the way down to the chair first, I'm going to hold the back of the chair and I'm going to scoot that back leg back. Now I'm going to go down any amount. Okay, you don't have to go down. So I'm going to start to ease my way down. It might look like this. It might look like this or like this, right? There's a lot of different ways this could look. You're going to find a way that works for you where you're exploring your knee bend, how much your knee can bend. You're exploring your ankle bend, so my foot is staying flat on the chair as I do this, right? You could come in and out, or you could stay there. I'm also going to explore bending my back knee. Now, this is my tricky knee, my back knee, but it feels okay today. So I'm letting it bend and I'm feeling a stretch through the front of the back thigh. Breathing in, trying to relax shoulders, and breathing out. One more breath. Good, and now I'm going to come out using the support of the chair, lifting up, and I bring my back foot in. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, I'm going to lift that back foot up and bring it down, or front foot. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Now, let's turn the chair so that the seat is facing you if it's not already, with the back towards you. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, right foot hovers. Good, inhale. Exhale, place it down. Okay, now we're gonna work a little more on the ankles. And to do that, you can hold the front, right? I'm going to scoot my back foot back. You don't have to. And then I'm just going to try, let's all try to keep your heel down on the chair as you experiment. And the more you back your back foot up, the more it might be able to support you. I'm just going to experiment with letting my ankle or my knee come forward, as long as there's no pain in the knee when you do this. So we're trying to work on this dorsiflexion of the ankle. This toes coming toward the shin of the ankle. And you're just seeing it. What kind of range do you have here without pain in the knee? Okay, so it's important that you're not feeling pain in the knee as you do it. You might have to be up here like this, okay? Okay. Good, and then come up and exhale, step the foot down. Let's do the other side. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale, putting it down. Same thing. You can take your hands to the chair to help you back up that back leg. Okay. You can do another configuration if that feels better. And we're just working on keeping the heel down as you start to lunge forward. It might not look anything like what I'm doing, it might look more like this. You might be holding on to something as you do it. Okay, and when you're ready, coming up, inhale, stand tall. Exhale, bring it down. Good. Let's just swing and twist the arms, letting the shoulders relax. Take a few sighs here. Soften your jaw. Good. All right. We're going to be taking our feet wide. In Sanskrit, it's Prasarita Padmottanasana. That pronunciation is probably not correct, okay? Not very good. I usually try to listen to it right before I say it, but this time I didn't. But I think that's all right. Okay, so for me, I'm going to be okay with my feet off my mat. I'm not going to slide so much, but you could also have your feet on your mat and your chair in front of you here. Okay, but just to show it, I'm going to go this way. Okay, so my feet are wide. My feet are facing forward. My chair is in front of me. And inhale, reach the arms up. Good. Exhale, let's hinge and come hands down, hands to chair. Of course, you could have hands on blocks instead as well. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to bend one knee and then the other knee. And I'm just going to go side to side. There's another pose called Skandasana pose, which this is somewhat of a preparatory pose for that. Just kind of going side to side. So with blocks, those of you that are more wanting to go a little bit, or they've got more range, you just put them in to do the same thing. Okay. Good, then let's come back up to the center. Still feet wide, still hinged forward, hands on the chair or the blocks. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now with your left hand on the chair, let's exhale and open up the right arm to twist to the right. Good. Inhale there. You could always let the left knee bend if it feels better. And exhale. Inhale again. Exhale, let's bring the right arm down. Inhale, get long through your spine. And exhale, let's twist to the left. So right arm down, left arm goes up. You could bend the right knee if it feels better. And a couple breaths. Good, and then let's exhale, bring the hand back down. Now we're gonna stay with the feet wide, and you could be on forearms or you could be on hands. And all I'm doing is I'm doing a little shift through my sacrum and my pelvis. So I'm keeping my legs the same amount of straight or bent that you had them, okay? But I'm letting the hips, first my left side of my hip rises higher, then I shift over and the right hip rises higher. Couple more. So we've been working few different poses for the hips today, a little bit different than we've done lately. We've been using some hip abduction, that's the leg out to the side, right? We've been getting into those adductors, the inner thigh muscles, and a little bit of external rotation when we were in frog, and we also did the hip extension and flexion. Good. Okay, after you're done with these hip shifts, If you want to, we could come into a squat from here. So even if you don't want to, you could give it a shot and see where it works. So I'm going to bring my feet a little bit closer. And I'm going to start to take my butt back and start to sit down. So you can sit down any amount. Some of you might turn around and sit to the chair. So some of you that have some injuries going on or not as much mobility, you could just sit right on the chair instead of going down like this. Or if you're a little nervous about it, you could also stack blocks up and sit to blocks, right? So that they're there for you. Or you might be on the floor. You might just be there hanging out. Take a couple of breaths in whatever you've chosen to do. And then slowly come down to the floor. So if you're in the chair, you can do a sit to stand and then join us on the floor. Now, I know I didn't tell you to have a strap. If you have one, great. If not, if you're doing a recording, you could always pause and get one. If you don't have one, we could always use the blanket for a strap. I'll show you how to do that. But first, before we do any of that, we're just going to sit with the soles of the feet together. So this Baddha Konasana pose, this usually helps people to sit up on a blanket when they do that, okay, or even a block or a pillow. So I got the soles of my feet together, my knees out to the sides. We're attempting to do this without a lot of roundedness, and that's where the blanket can help. You can also take your hands behind your back like this to push into the floor to help you sit upright, right? So you can either hold your ankles or you could be here. Another option is to sit against a piece of furniture. And just let your eyes settle on something and breathe here. Relax through your shoulders, relax through your face. Good. Now, some people might like to lean forward, keeping somewhat of a neutral spine. Okay, this is Baddha Konasana A, I think. I'm not saying that with confidence. Or you might prefer to do Baddha Konasana B, and that one's rounded. And sometimes I like to have people move their feet a little further away and round. So it's like you're closing up like a clamshell, right? So that's B, and then Baddha Konasana C is the one we were just doing. We're sitting up really tall. You can even pull against the ankles. So just pick whichever one you want to try, or you can try all of them. Or if this pose doesn't work for you, you know to listen to your own body and do what you need to do. Let's just take a couple more breaths here. And then as you're ready, coming out, you can bring the knees together. We're going to sit now wide-legged, so Upavista Konasana, upright, right, wide-legged pose. And sit in a V. So this is like the one we were doing when we were standing, right? And we had our hands on the chair. You can imagine if you had your hands on the chair, this is the same position, right? Okay. Again, hands could be behind back, can be sitting on a pillow, could have furniture behind you, or your hands might rest in front. Relax your ankles. Just notice how this feels. You could always open wider if you want to. And I'm going to give you some options. Stay upright, stay propped, or even go forward if you want to. Okay, letting your neck relax. And noticing, how is this on your hips, right? So I know it's an adductor stretch, but how does this feel on your hips? We've done a lot of this position today. Does it feel like a position that is benefiting you today? Do you need to back out of it? Couple more breaths here. And then slowly coming out when you're ready. Hey, can use your hands to help you bend the knees, bring them in. We're going to come onto our backs, and if you have that strap, you can use it. If you don't have a strap, you can use your blanket. I'm going to show it with my sweater. Just coming onto the back first in constructive rest pose and noticing how your body feels now compared to when you first lie down. When we began the session, noticing your toes, your feet. You might wiggle side to side a little bit, noticing your sacrum, your upper back. You can manually move your shoulder blades down, noticing the back of your head and wherever your hands are resting. I'm going to bring the right knee in again, and your left leg could be bent or straight. If you're tighter, I recommend keeping the left leg bent, okay? I'm going to place the strap or whatever you got, I'm using my sweater, on the bottom of my foot, the right foot, and extend upward toward the ceiling. Kind of relax through your shoulders. I like to do it this way. That doesn't mean it's how you have to do it, okay? This is just one option. I like to have my arms straight so my shoulders relax, and I just use the weight of my upper body to hold the leg there. Some people prefer to have their arms bent and hold like this. Okay. I'm going to take both ends of the strap-like item and exhale, bringing the leg out to the side, a little or a lot. So we're going back to this same type of position, right? Now, I really like to let my leg rest on something. If you have a piece of furniture or a couple blocks, you could put it on. I'll show you what I mean. If I had this chair next to me, I might just let it rest on the chair so I could relax my grip. But for me, there's no stretch when I rest it on the chair, so that's okay. You don't have to have a stretch. It could be restorative. But I want a little bit of a stretch because I'm really tight there. So I'm going to take my blocks and use those instead. All right, so there's always kind of options to explore. Let's take about 5 breaths. Can you breathe slowly, lengthening your exhale? To come out, let's bend that right knee and bring the leg up. So now you're in like a half happy baby pose. You can choke up on the strap or even hold the outside of the foot or the toes. Left leg can be bent or straight. Good, and then let's release. Straightening out the right leg. Releasing it to the floor, you can straighten the left leg. Notice the two sides. And then let's bend the right leg. Bring the left knee in, place the strap over the bottom of the left foot. Extend the left leg up. Right leg can be bent or straight. Finding the way you want to hold the strap. If you'd like, you can straighten out the right leg on the floor or keep it bent as you take the leg out to the left. You can also arrange so you have a prop or some furniture to rest it on. Take a few more breaths, lengthening your exhale if you can. And then to come out, you can bend the knee and come into that half happy baby pose. You could choke up on your strap, the knee stays bent, and your right leg can be bent or straight. And then when you're ready, releasing. Good. Taking any other pose that you might like, feel free. And then finding a Shavasana or a similar restful pose. When you get there, take a couple of sighs. Make any arrangements or adjustments. And then letting go of your breath control. Inviting yourself to let go to gravity, almost like you're sinking into the floor a little more deeply. And just notice what your mind tends to do. If you check out or go off into your thoughts, any of that is okay, nothing wrong with it. And just notice, can you bring yourself back to the present moment? Bring yourself back to a sense of inhabiting your body. And just notice whatever is there, what your experience is like.